today just want to do another quick edit, just a basic newborn photo, but I'll give you kind of an idea of what I do to finish this for the client. So first we crop. So I cropped at a 5 by 7. And next thing I do usually is the skin. So I'm going to use some actions on his skin. And I think we'll try, I haven't used this in a while. Pro Retouch has a set, so it's Pro Retouch 2, and I like their D-Blotch medium. So we'll run this action, and this is a paint on action. So once it's finished running, we'll grab a brush and we'll go about 60%. So this just kind of not really blur, but it kind of like smooths the skin, and it kind of makes everything kind of like tone wise, like kind of kind of smoothed out. You'll see once we get this on, but we'll paint it on, avoiding any hair, any creases, the nose, the eyes, just because we don't want to blur that out. So get this on real quick. And let me zoom in a little bit more for you. But this you can see before and after. It's just going to kind of de-blotch basically the skin. So if there's like blotchiness like on his hand here, you can see there's a little of that red webbing going on. And whatever I do on the face, I do on any, the body showing. So his little arms and legs will give him a little bit here. I'm just going to go over the eyelid a little bit there. And just avoiding that little crease of his mouth. Bring it down. Get his little chin. Look at his hair. Oh my gosh, when he came in the studio, I was so excited. It's funny, most of the times I don't know what the babies look like until they come in. And I saw him in the car seat, and then mom popped his hat off, and oh my gosh, all the hair. It was so cute. So you can see before and after. So I like to do that first, smooth out their skin a little bit, and then we'll go in and do some of the flaky removal. And I'm going to use Appleseed Photography's Blemish Blaster. So I can show you this great, amazing action from Appleseed Photography. It's amazing. So we're going to go up to 100%, and then I'm just using the bracket keys on my keyboard and making my brush a little smaller. So we're just going to run right over top of all the blemishes. You've probably seen me in previous videos use this, and I love it. It gets rid of a lot of those little flakies really easy. So you can also use the spot heal brush or the patch tool to do skin retouching. I basically just look at kind of what I need to do and then pick the best tool for this. I like this one for the nose because you can get rid of some of that milia that's on their nose. And I do keep some of it because it is cute. So I'm just going over some of the flakiness here. He had a little bit of flakies. He had pretty good skin overall. So I'll just run this over. And I'm lifting a lot. I know it looks like I'm just dragging, but I'm lifting just so we get to keep, the texture of the skin as much as possible, because I feel like the more you smooth it out, the more it starts to look plasticky, and we don't want to do that. We want to keep them looking as natural as possible. So that's how I do that. And then a lot of times I feel like I can do that, and then I'll still end up doing a little bit of the um, spot remover and patch tool. So you can see before and after. And we're going to go in. I'm just going to get some of those on the eyelid. I feel like this is easier to do on baby's eyelids because I can get close to that crease and I'm not doing too much damage there with the the smoothing of it and how it goes out. So he had a little bit of flakes in his hair, a little bit here. So just whatever tool that gets the job done the easiest and the best, I think, is what we can do. So patch tool and healing brush, and this action is like my go-to. So he had a little bit on his eye there, like a little flakes. I'm just going to get them real quick and get some in his little crease there of his nose. Cute. Okay. Looking pretty good. So he had a bigger flaky or something there, so I'm just going to use the patch tool to get rid of that. Perfect. So our blanket had a little bit of stuff going on there, but we're gonna fix that with a little action that I use a lot for fixing the blanket. Okay, so we'll go next to our background. So I use this action called Background Botox from Appleseed Photography. This action is really cool. It will, as you see, outline the subject. So whatever subject is on this image, will be outlined. You can remove the outline by clicking Control D, which I will do, only because I feel like when I brush this action on really close to the baby, it creates a really hard line. And I don't know if that's just me, if I'm doing something wrong, or what, but I don't like that line. So I just turn it off by hitting Control D, and then I drop the opacity to 30%, increase my brush size, and I'm just going to brush this on the backdrop. So I'm not getting really super close to baby, and I'm staying away from the shadow that's under baby's back there. I'm really kind of staying a good distance away from that. This will smooth your backdrop. It will kind of make the tone of everything match, so you don't have like weird areas, especially on darker backdrops. So you can see like here, there's like a little bit of a white spot. I'm just going to go over that a little bit more. And then I'm going to go here a little bit more. Just kind of staying out of the shadow area because it will, like I said, create kind of like a harder line there. So run that over. You can see before, after. Okay, so then I take my dropper tool. I do this a lot for my backdrops also. So I'm going to select an area. So I just selected kind of the area that I want to create all over. Hit this plus sign to create a new layer. Grab my brush and I'm going to, let's increase a little bit, paint on just the backdrop. So we're not going on to baby, just the backdrop. And you can see what that does. So we still have some shadow back here, which is natural because the light was on the right side of baby. So we got the light coming down, and then we're going to have a natural shadow back there. So I don't want to take that away too much. We'll flatten that. And I'm going to go into Liquify. So if you have not used Liquify, I use Liquify probably on most of my wrap sessions. So anytime baby's in a wrap, we do the best we can to get them looking rounded and all this, but babies, sometimes just need a little tweak in there with with it. So I just play around and kind of see, and I just kind of make it more circular, I guess. And once we get it looking, Mickey's a little more rounded, we can save that. Sometimes I just bump in like the leg a little bit. So he looks a lot better there. So you can see before we just rounded him out. So we'll save that. And then we've got our background done. So I'm just going to go in and I think first I'm just going to make sure there's nothing, because this is a dark backdrop. So any little flake or anything will show on that. I'm just going to kind of clean that up a little bit. So I'm just using the healing brush, spot healing, I think it's called, to clean that up. I mean, there's other things that you can do. There's actions, I think, even. The blemish blaster would do it. But since it's a dark backdrop, light backdrops, I think it works better on. But the darker backdrops, I don't know if it totally gets it as good as, you'd probably want it. So it's easy enough to just go in, do the little clicking all over the image to get those cleaned up a little bit. And that background Botox, I have a hard time saying that. It does clean up some of that, but again, we're not getting super close to babe. So I'm trying to avoid creating that hard line. So this, I feel like, works better. So you can see over here, you're not seeing them because it did clean up a lot. Plus it's a little more out of focus because it's not in the plane that we focused on for baby's eyes, which is my focal point. But I just feel like some of these, they're just a little bigger. And I don't think they're really flakes. I think it might actually be just that this background has been washed, and I've probably had it for, gosh, at least 4 years, maybe longer. But anyway, we clean up most of that just because I feel like if a client is printing and if they're printing these bigger, this stuff would show on a photo and look like, oh, well, they didn't edit, or whatever. And it's just a personal preference. I don't know that this would get printed big, but I give digital files, so my clients do print, and I'd rather have it looking as, touched up as possible than have them go back having printed something and see like little flecks all over, because it just doesn't look as finished. But I'm not going to go so crazy that it's going to change anything. So I just want to make sure, because he has dark hair, so sometimes you'll see the flakes in the baby's hair, but his looks good. So I love how his skin still has that texture. We didn't take all of the like little, I think they call them like milk spots. I know they're milia, but they're just like white little spots. Some parents will say, well, can you get rid of all those? I will lighten them. Another good way to do that, because we did, some of our actions is in the Pro Retouch 2 collection here, the Magic Eraser. I will show you what that does, but I tend to not, I guess, do it too much, but I think we could do it a little bit. I'll show you. So I'm at 30%. I'm going to keep it light. So we're going to get our brush the size we want, and we're just going to run it over. So it just lightens everything a little bit, a bit. Yeah, sometimes when you zoom in a lot, it's like, ooh, I missed so much. But I think, Most of these clients are probably not going to be printing these really big. But again, you don't want to have like that spotty look. Make it as natural as possible. Anything distracting, I'll just get rid of. But again, we're not going to go too crazy. They still look like a real baby, not a baby doll. All right, so usually the eyes are where the nose and the eyes, sometimes around the mouth, there'll be just little things that you don't really see. I mean, the camera picks up a lot, like the little dry flakes on his actual eyelashes, the little veins. Look at all that little fuzzy hair on his face. How cute. So we're keeping that, we're keeping that because that's adorable. It's part of them. We don't want their skin to look super, super fake. That is not our goal here. We want this baby to look very natural. So just, you really, like I said, I say this all the time, you can go so crazy with this, but I'm just grabbing anything that is like really standing out to me. And we're just trying to keep his skin looking natural. Look at him. He's so cute. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is run a couple actions. I'm going to do Appleseed Base. That's from Appleseed Photography's set. And I don't know which set I have. She's got a lot. And look at what that does. Holy moly. Look at what it did to his skin. So cute. I might actually drop it down just a little bit more. I don't want it to like change the skin tone too much. And I feel like sometimes, tweaking an action is awesome because they usually start out strong, so you can tweak them. They're meant to be tweaked. And I love that. And then I'm going to do Officially Baked 6. That's my current favorite. I just love how it pulls in the contrast and kind of boosts the exposure or highlight a little bit so you can see before and after. It just pops the image and I just love that. So usually the Appleseed Photography actions I run between 20 to 40%. So I love that so far. So we've got our actions done. Only other thing that I normally would do is the reds. And I'm going to use Charlotte Gamache's Magic Box Reds Disappear action. I feel like for some reason, I have so many red removers. It just works so good. And I don't want to take out a lot of red. I just want to take out any areas that look a little like, the eyelids, usually the forehead between their eyes sometimes will be a little red. I'll try to leave like their cheeks. And I don't really mess with the toes unless they're really red. His toes are not really red. So it's just a subtle change. So we'll do that. And I feel like he might have a little bit, just a smidge of orange I want to remove. So I'm going to run her action here. Orange just disappear just a little bit. I feel like that might have been too much. So I'm just going to drop the opacity here because I don't want him to like end up being, like unwarming him basically, where I feel like his skin tone was pretty good. So it's just a little adjustment. And then the last thing I would do is we're going to sharpen just a smidge here. Lashes. So we go over the end of the nose, the lips, the hair. Usually the center of the face is where I hit, and everything else. I'm not going to run it over his whole body, his whole face or anything like that. Just pop in what is already the focus of the image, and you can see it's not overdone. We didn't do like a real strong opacity of that. So that is how I would edit a newborn session. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will be putting out many more, so I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that you learned something. And if you have questions, feel free to ask me. Subscribe to the channel to get all the newest videos, and I can't wait to see you next time.